That night, I thought sleep would bring me peace, until unseen fingers slid across my skin and a breath whispered mine against my neck. What happened after still haunts me. I crawled into bed later than usual, exhaustion dragging at me, but my body refused to settle. The night pressed in heavy, the kind of silence that makes every small sound echo too loudly. I pulled the blanket up to my shoulders, desperate for warmth, but as I shifted, my shirt slid just enough to bear a line of skin along my waist. A trivial detail, one I might have ignored, until the air touched me there, cool at first, then disturbingly warm. I told myself to relax. It was nothing more than nerves, the weight of a long day clinging to me. But the longer I lay there, the harder it became to believe that lie. The quiet wasn't comforting. It was charged, thick, like the walls themselves were listening. My chest rose too fast, shallow breaths betraying the unease clawing at me. That's when the mattress gave its first subtle dip. At first, I thought it was me, shifting in half sleep, but no. This was careful, slow, the kind of movement that meant something else was there. My stomach tightened, every muscle screaming for me to move, yet I froze, pinned by dread, and then came the first touch. It was so faint I almost convinced myself it wasn't real. Fingers, or something like them, brushing against my leg. The contact lingered, traveling upward in a line too deliberate to be chance. My skin erupted in goosebumps, my throat closing on the gasp I refused to release. I wanted to scream, to turn on the lamp, but another part of me, dark, traitorous, waited for the next move. The weight behind me grew heavier, the mattress sinking further as if knees pressed into it. My pulse hammered in my throat, and the air thickened with a scent I couldn't place. Earthy, faintly sweet, intoxicating. I breathed it in without meaning to, dizzy from its pull, fear tangled with something else, something I couldn't name, and the two knotted tighter with every second. A breath curled across the back of my neck, hot and deliberate. My body stiffened, lips parting against the silence. It wasn't just haunting me, it was studying me, savoring the way I froze beneath its presence. My heart begged me to run, but my body betrayed me, leaning ever so slightly toward the warmth. And just when I thought I couldn't bear another second, the whisper came. Not words I understood, not even language, but sound, low, steady, terrifyingly intimate. My blood ran cold, yet heat coiled low in my stomach, forcing me to admit the truth. The night was only just beginning, and whatever had found me wasn't planning to leave. The mattress pressed deeper, the weight now undeniable, as though the presence had settled fully into my bed. My body shook with the urge to escape, yet I lay frozen, every nerve screaming while my skin burned beneath the unseen attention. The touch returned, bolder this time, fingers grazing my thigh and sliding upward with deliberate patience. I bit down on my lip, stifling a sound that might have betrayed just how much I felt it. My hands gripped the sheet so tightly my knuckles whitened, but the harder I clung, the more insistent the contact became. A slow trace along my waist, a pause at the curve of my ribs. The air thickened with every second, carrying that intoxicating scent, earthy, sweet, dangerously alluring. I hated myself for breathing it in, yet each inhale dragged it deeper, weaving into me like smoke. I whispered a broken stop into the darkness, but even I couldn't tell if it was resistance or plea, because the truth was impossible to ignore. Fear wasn't the only thing coursing through me. Something darker pulsed beneath it, shameful and undeniable, pulling me closer to whatever claimed me in the dark. But the real shock hadn't arrived yet. The weight shifted closer, knees sinking into the sheets on either side of me, pinning me in place. My pulse hammered so loud I thought it might shatter my skull. Heat hovered at my ear, a breath curling steady, deliberate, carrying with it a single word that never left its lips but echoed through me all the same. Mine. I gasped, chest heaving as if the sound alone had power over me. My body arched slightly, betraying me yet again. Every instinct screamed for freedom, but the presence lingered, savoring each twitch of my muscles, each shallow gasp I tried to hide. I wanted to fight. I wanted to run. Instead, I trembled, caught between terror and an ache I couldn't name. The blanket began to slide, tugged by unseen hands, slipping inch by inch until the cold air kissed across my stomach. My fingers clawed desperately at the sheets, but the fabric was no longer mine to control. The presence held me there, silent, patient, terrifying in its intimacy. My thoughts spiraled, every second heavier than the last, until I could no longer tell where fear ended and something else began. And as the night deepened, with the weight pressing harder and the whisper curling closer, I realized the presence wasn't just haunting me. It was claiming me. And yet, as terrifying as that was, the worst was still to come. The blanket pooled at the edge of the bed, leaving me exposed beneath the weight of something I still couldn't see. My breath came in jagged bursts, every inhale stealing strength instead of giving it. The scent thickened, earthy, sweet, intoxicating, and I hated how much my body craved it even as terror coursed through me. The touch grew bolder, fingers traced across my stomach, pausing just above my ribs, then drifting lower again in a rhythm that felt almost human, yet far too deliberate. My chest rose sharply, lips parting against the silence, and when the breath curled across my ear, I swore I heard a hum of satisfaction. My skin erupted in goosebumps, my body trembling under a claim I had never given. I whispered, "Please," into the pillow, though I couldn't tell if I begged it to stop or to continue. My pulse raced, my muscles tight, yet my body betrayed me again, arching slightly toward the warmth. And in that unbearable closeness, the voice returned, not sound, not speech, but a vibration in my bones. Mine. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. I wanted to fight, to scream, but my throat closed around the words. The mattress dipped harder, pressing me down, pinning me beneath an unseen weight that grew heavier with each passing second. I clenched the sheets, gasping for air, every nerve aflame with terror and something I couldn't admit. Then, just as suddenly as it had begun, it stopped. The warmth vanished. The scent dissolved. The pressure lifted from my chest. For one terrifying heartbeat, I thought I was free. I rolled onto my back, eyes darting around the dim glow of the room. Everything looked ordinary. The dresser, the chair, the pale streaks of light slipping through the curtain. But then I saw them. 2 deep indentations at the foot of the bed, pressed firmly into the blanket. Knees, perfectly still, perfectly real. My breath locked in my throat, and before I could even move, the marks began to drag forward, slow and deliberate, inching toward me. And then they vanished, the blanket smoothed as though nothing had ever touched it. The silence crashed back, heavier than before, buzzing with something unseen. Even now, every night I close my eyes, I wait for that breath, that voice, that claim. Because once something has touched you like this, You never truly sleep alone again. Have you ever felt a presence beside you when you were alone at night? Share your story in the comments. I want to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to Paranormal Sleep for more terrifying midnight encounters, because the next story might be yours.